Hi everyone and welcome. It's MovieManCHAD here again with my friend Ryan. It's been a couple weeks since we actually did see a movie together. Of course, we saw it. You can check out that review on my channel if you like. Tonight we saw Kingsman: The Golden Circle, the long anticipated sequel to the 2015 super hit Kingsman: The Secret Service. Now, before I start, I usually like to ask a couple questions to my friend Ryan, since this is our second review together and hopefully we'll do more in the future. Have you seen the original Kingsman from 2015, Ryan?
Yes. And
quickly, in a few words, what did you think about it?
I loved it, but explosive F words.
Were you offended? Were you triggered?
I wasn't offended. I felt that there was just an abundant sentence word enhancements in it.
I guess you probably are so used to it. You have children, and there's so many movies that you do take them to go see, these superhero kind of action movies, James Bond, and most of them are PG-13, so you can take them and there's not an excessive amount of violence and language, so it's something that maybe either you're not used to or you're tired of. Yeah,
that's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Well, for me, Kingsman: The Secret Service was a surprise, but not too much of a big surprise, because I expected a great film from Matthew Vaughn, who has actually become a better filmmaker than the guy he used to produce movies for. He actually used to produce movies for Guy Ritchie. Really? In my opinion, Guy Ritchie has kind of fallen off the map from the films that he's made, especially the films that maybe he made some great films back in the late 90s and early 2000s because Matthew Vaughn was producing them. So of course Matthew Vaughn has directed this film and also the first film. He did the original Kick-Ass, he did X-Men First Class, Layer Cake, and some other films that don't come to mind right now. And I think he's just a fabulous director. So I expected at least a good movie. I had more expectations about this movie, or expectations about this new film, because I loved the original so much. I thought the original, hands down, was one of the best comic book, crazy, hyper violent language, a little bit of nudity, a little bit of everything that is that's like kind of a different spin on comic book movies and James Bond. It was just something different. Spies and proper English, you know, so it's kind of like, it was Kick-Ass meets proper English. Yeah. And I appreciated that, and it actually felt original, even though it wasn't original. I mean, we've seen stories where, you know, we get to see a main character kind of go through this adventure and see if he's going to be the hero of the day. So all that wasn't new, and we had a great villain with Samuel L. Jackson, and Colin Firth was great, and this new actor that we've never seen before, Taron Egerton, I think his name is, who's gone on to be in some other films, Eddie the Eagle. Did you see Eddie the Eagle? Yep. Very good movie. I like that movie. Yep. So I had some high expectations for this movie. I don't know if it was going to match them. I didn't expect it to match, because that movie was just so interesting and original. So now that we have seen this brand new film, of course, who has a lot of the main cast from the original film, but there's some new people in here. We have Julianne Moore now as this supposed villain, and Jeff Bridges and Channing Tatum and Halle Berry, and then there's some other surprises. I honestly don't want to spoil the big surprise in this film. Yeah. But there's also a musical superstar in the movie, but I'm not gonna say who. Anyways, how did you feel about this new Kingsman movie?
Well, I liked it. It's not as good as the first one, but I felt like it was a PG-13 version of the first one. Even
though they dropped the F-bomb a lot, it would never got a PG-13.
It wouldn't, because of the F-bombs, but there was a lack of F-bombs. I was actually surprised with the lack of F-bombs, because I was mentally prepared for, you know,
every other word,
and it wasn't there. I only counted it maybe 6 times in the whole movie, which, you know, I was disappointed at that.
It's funny that you didn't want it, but then you're disappointed that it wasn't there.
You kind of expected. The violence was really toned down in this one, and I was really surprised about that. The nudity was really toned down. There was no nudity.
There wasn't any, and I'm surprised that they didn't take advantage of that. They're, you know, they're going for a horror R-rated film.
Yeah, I was really shocked about that. I just felt like I was watching kind of like a dumber down PG-13 of the original, kind of. Yeah. But I didn't feel the main villain was scary enough. And Samuel L. Jackson did a great job in the first one. And Julianne Moore does a good job in it, but she just wasn't, I don't know, she didn't have the bad guy feel that I didn't feel like she really wanted to destroy the world. And there were so many flaws in her scheme that it didn't seem realistic, unlike Samuel L. Jackson's. I could see something like that happening. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. I laughed, especially certain parts that I don't want to blow for you. You know, I was laughing out loud moments, and I was generally entertained. But it wasn't as good as the original, the first one.
Did you feel the length of the film?
I started
2 hours and 20 minutes.
I started to feel it in the end there. I was like, okay, this is kind of dragging on. And the ending, I was like, really? Okay, that's kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah, the ending to the original film with all the heads exploding and the colorful stuff, it just came together like a wonderful symphony of music.
Absolutely.
And your phone's going off too. Yeah, it's hard because there is an original film to this movie. I would say if this was the only film in the franchise, like, you know what, that was fun, it was different. I like the technical work, I like the special effects, I like the camera work, I like the action. You know, like, wow, we haven't seen anything like this before in an action movie with this kind of weird humor and this use of proper English with violence and language and action. You can see the tip of the hat to the Bond, but the original film does exist. Yeah. And it's so much better than this film. But this film still, I thought, was still a good, solid, fun movie at fun action movie at the theaters. You know, grab some popcorn, eat it till you die, and you should stop eating popcorn. You know, I just felt like it just was way too long, and it didn't give us a chance to, you know, I know in normal Bond movies you get right, there's an action sequence right when the movie starts, but I just felt like this action movie just got way too out of control, and then the movie just was like piling on this, and then the plot, the motivation of the good guys, and the motivation of the bad guys. And with Julianne Moore, I felt she's so elegant and beautiful, and she's such a great actress. She's won an Oscar and stuff like that, and you wanted to see her pull a weird, strange performance that works so well with Samuel L. Jackson, and somehow it just doesn't work. She's cool. I don't feel like she's in the movie that often. Yeah. I have to say that she's wasted in the movie, that Channing Tatum is wasted in the movie,
Absolutely.
Halle Berry's wasted in the movie, Jeff Bridges, who's to me the greatest actor living today and maybe the greatest actor ever of all time, the dude abides, wasted in this movie. Of course, a lot of the other casts are not, and it's fun to see Colin Firth in the film, and I don't know, you know, explain it. I didn't feel like it was interesting to explain now what happened to him or how he's still alive. I just feel like there's a lot going on in this movie, too much going on in a very long period of time, that I felt like maybe if they shorted down to 45 minutes, the first movie is like 2 hours and 10 minutes. And of course, probably like 5 or 6 minutes of that is credits, so it's shorter, it's tighter, it's more interesting. Of course, we're meeting these characters for the first time, and now we've met them and they go on this new adventure together. I just felt like it was a slight step down from the original film, but they did get one thing right, and of course I'm not going to spoil anything in this review, but this introduction to one of the most famous musicians of all time, and the way that they use this musician of all time was hilarious. It was funny. I wish the rest of the movie had that kind of personality. What this very famous person does in the movie is awesome, and I felt like that was the greatest part of the entire film. Again, I love the production value. I love the music. I wish there were some different music choices when they're fighting. There's not a single scene in this movie that rivals the original church sequence with Colin Firth, when he kills all those people. There's not a single scene that even gets close. No. Even though the action is great. There's lots of great action, lots of funny moments, and there's lots of great camera work and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But I'm watching them going, can they top that sequence in the church? No, they did not top that at all. So it's hard. I understand. It's hard to live up to a film that was so much fun, so entertaining, and just had so much to offer. A nice change from all these superhero movies that are PG-13. I like that. I'm an adult. I want to see action. I want to see violence. I want to see language. I want to just see it all. I want the filmmakers not to have any restraint on a rating that much. But I just felt with this time, I don't know if there's any new ground being shed here. I feel like I think they said it all really well in the first film, and I wanted a sequel. I was watching the first film, I've seen it twice now, and I wanted a sequel watching it, but now that I have the sequel, I'm like, maybe the sequel didn't really need to exist. But I feel like there's so much talent in this film, there's so much going on in this film, both great and good and a little bit bad, that I still feel it is definitely worth watching. Matinee price. I still had a really good time, very entertained, though I did feel the length at times. I felt like a lot of characters were unnecessary. Some plot points were didn't really need to be there.
I agree.
I wish Julianne Moore was more frightening and terrifying, and I wish her plan was more convincing. And I don't know what else to say. I think the movie just needs to be edited down a lot. At least be a shorter film. Maybe an hour and 45 minutes, the movie would have been a lot better.
I agree. And I have to say, it's worth going to see. By all means, go out, see it, especially for this musician. It totally made the movie for me. Without the musician, I probably would have given it a less of a rating than what I'm about to suggest. And I was entertained, and I'm happy with it. But I do like the original better.
And your final rating?
I would give it 3 out of 4 stars.
Matthew Vaughn is a very talented filmmaker. We all know that, and he's got a great resume, and he's got a great eye for action and humor and characters. So I really like these characters. I expect that if this movie is successful, we'll see another film. I hope the next time they'll put more work into a more interesting story, more interesting plot for the villains. You know, the reason to fight these villains. I know it's very comical, it's very over the top, and I get that. It's just, you know, it's kick-ass, that kick-ass feel.
Yeah.
Though I feel like in this film there's not a lot of danger. I didn't feel any danger that these characters were really in. What kick-ass, you know, I feel like this is fun and exciting, but there is that element of danger that's really not there. But I guess I expect more from if this was Matthew Vaughn's first film, like, wow, that was great, it was wonderful. Yeah. But this guy's just made so many amazing films in his career, and he's produced so many great films as well. I just think he's better than this, and I feel like it's just a slight step down from the original film. And it's hard. Sequels are tough to do, and they can't always be as great as the original. And this one, sadly, doesn't even match the original film. I wish it did. I wish it did. And for that, I'm going to give it a solid 3 out of 4 stars, because I think it still has a lot to offer and is a fun time at the movies. So turn off your brain. Of course, you were already going to when you saw this review, and go see the movie. And enjoy.
Awesome. Quick shout out to my son, Creeper DJ Games, on YouTube. Check him out. He likes to review Pokemon cards, video games. Check him out. It's a lot of fun.
Yes. And someday, maybe he will secretly watch the movie without you knowing it, and he'll love it more than you do. Like, Dad, you're an idiot. This movie was great.
It's true. Now this record is permanently out there for all time.
All right. Anyways, look forward. Hopefully, we'll do some more reviews together. There's some movies coming up that we might see, and so we might have some more reviews in the future. And if you're interested in subscribing, please do to me. Please do to Ryan's son. I'll put the link in the comment box below. I'm MovieManCHAD.
I'm Ryan.
Goodbye and enjoy film. Live film, people. Bye-bye.
Adios.
Are you waving wave from down here? Wait, over here, goodbye.
Fade off.
Fade off.